All right, let's get started. Thank you everybody for joining our webinar today. My name is Ben Victorica with KnowledgeNet, and I'm joined by Howard Fisher. Our goal today is to provide you an overview of how AI is impacting sales and helping companies grow their business. First, you'll hear from Howard, and he'll share with you his experience and his perspective with his relationship, within his own company and its partnership with Sales Xceleration. And then I'll provide you an overview of KnowledgeNet and provide you a demonstration. Along the way, if you have any questions, please put them in the Q&A and we'll answer all the questions today during the webinar. Howard, I'll turn it over to you. If you could please introduce yourself and take it from here.
Thanks, Ben. Pleasure to be with you, and thanks to everyone who is able to join us live. And for those of us that will be listening to the recording, thanks for taking time as well. It's a great pleasure to be here today. I am the founder and trusted growth partner at Hantera, which is powered by Sales Xceleration. My business is working with businesses, mostly founder-led businesses, where they are experiencing some sort of challenge around revenue generation, specifically around sales. Most of my clients will come to me in kind of two different kind of states. One is they have an established sales organization. They have a sales leader, probably a marketing team, but the executive team is not confident that they have sales operating system that can produce year-over-year growth in sales. So they will bring me in as an architect to be the coach, mentor, and facilitator and walk the team through the build of the necessary sales infrastructure and the people and the processes and the technology necessary. And then I'll come back from time to time in order to test and validate and to simply be a resource for them. Most of my clients, they're frustrated because sales are flat or stagnant. They're exhausted because sales are coming directly through them as the founder leader or through one or two members of their organization, or they are discouraged because the exit, which they had envisioned, is moving further away. So they hire me as a builder, and I will come in and work with the sales team as that sales executive and really first assess and then build the sales infrastructure, everything from sales planning to building a sales playbook to sales methodology to looking at whether or not they need to bring in a specific salesperson and potentially hire and onboarding them. And then I sit in that seat as the sales leader and coach and mentor the sales organization and put them back onto a path of growth. At the end of the day, for business owners and founders, I give them freedom of choice. They can focus on other parts of their business or their lives while I am working with the team to create and build and execute on year-over-year revenue growth.
Awesome, Howard. Great introduction. Let me start the presentation here. And I know that you had just gone over this slide. Is there anything you want to add before?
No, I think that's great. I think that's just a good visual of what I just shared. And, I think really, the most important part, if we can just kind of move forward, is really talking to the folks today who are interested in how is artificial intelligence being used by organizations today in order to accelerate top line revenue and sales. And there's just such an expansion of artificial intelligence. And I think the key takeaway, from all these different tools is that artificial intelligence really is a business friend. It's not a foe. I know there is a large part that looks at artificial intelligence with maybe an eye. That would be something that would be maybe not something they'd want to use. But I would say that for all these different types of artificial intelligence tools, you really want to use them to learn, to experiment with and test. And for all organizations to kind of make their own in order for the organization to be more effective and efficient. And today we're really, focusing on how artificial intelligence can build an organization's pipeline, which is really the heart of an organization's capabilities in order to grow. But there are so many other ways in which artificial intelligence can be used, whether that's content creation, that could be on webinars like this. There's a lot of great tools that can transcribe and note take during meetings. There's opportunities to use artificial intelligence to increase sales onboarding and actually create consistency on selling across your organization by developing a sales playbook. And then certainly, even if you look at from a professional perspective, from a networking perspective, the way that LinkedIn can be used and how you can actually optimize your profile in order to drive relationships. Those are all examples of tools where artificial intelligence is really having an impact on businesses day in and day out. So when we're talking about artificial intelligence and how to build a pipeline, we're really talking about how does an organization really identify their ideal customer profile. And what this really reminds me of on the ideal customer profile, it goes back to kind of a strategy book that I've really resonated to. And it's called Playing to Win. And when I think about playing to win and I think about the ideal customer profile, I really think about, and the analogy is like when we were kids, which is when we wanted to play in the sandbox. So from a business perspective, and if you think about it as a kid, when you'd go to the sandbox and you always played in a certain part of the sandbox, you always had your certain favorite toys you played with, and then you had your certain favorite friends you played with within the sandbox. And that's really what we're talking about for a business and an ideal customer profile. As a business, you need to ask yourself a series of questions about, where do you want to play within that sandbox? Who are the ideal customer profiles? What actually are you providing them with? How long actually do you anticipate that relationship being? And the most important is the why. The why in that ideal customer profile. What are you going to bring as a business that's going to add value where that ideal customer profile and their pain points are going to be things that are going to resonate with you and your business? Some of the things that we're looking at when we're building ideal customer profiles is the type of roles or titles in the organization. And what's really interesting is when you start to peel the onion back and look at a business and who those influencers and decision makers are, the ideal client profile for a specific company might have 3 or 4 different titles. And within those titles, those folks will have different types of pain points. So your CFO is going to have a different pain point than your COO. So it's really important to identify who your titles are and what their pain points are. What is the segment in the market that you're looking to play with? Is there a traditional or kind of a sweet spot from an annual revenue? Maybe total number of employees is important. You could be geographically bound. You could be looking at certain industries or certain verticals. Or you could be looking for certain markets. Are they laggers? Are they growth-minded organizations? All of these things and more go into your ideal customer profile. And the interesting part is that how do you actually target your ideal customer profiles in order to find new leads? And so when you're talking about new leads, the one thing that I ask my clients is like, now that we've spent the time on the ICP, where are we going to find the time, energy, and resources to really kind of go through all of the different things that would be necessary in order to find these particular leads? And there's a lot of things that go into play. So time, we know, is not our friend in the business world. So you could ask your team to spend hours and hours on LinkedIn in order to try and figure out like who they're connected to and who those folks are connected to. So what I'd call kind of like not just leveraging your network, but leveraging your network's network. You could look at other tools that could be, financially prohibitive. You could look at whether or not you should be using some sort of marketing kind of automation or tool like Google Ads or things along those lines. You could try and do email blasts out to your ideal client profiles. That's assuming you could find their email addresses. Or I see some organizations hiring either full-time folks as 1099s or full-time folks within their organization just to go out and source and figure out who actually the ideal client profiles are and try and do some appointment setting with them. And what I found is that over the course of my 25 years is that this really slows my ability to get to market. It can be frustrating for my sales team or my rest of my team because you're asking them to do things that maybe they're not as comfortable with or they don't feel as part of their core role. And it can also be, consuming from an energy and resource perspective, both in time and resources. And that's why, over the course of time, I've been using, and for my clients have been recommending using KnowledgeNet AI. And it's really a tool that kind of brings this whole world of artificial intelligence along with the organization's intellectual property and strategy and focus, and delivers it in a way that is not cost prohibitive, but in a way which allows organizations to get to market quicker, to get to decision makers in a more efficient way, and really put into their own hands the power to grow. So those are some things that I've seen in the marketplace, Ben, and I'd love for you to be able to share a little bit more about KnowledgeNet and how you help clients.
Excellent, Howard. Thank you very much. And to support what you were saying as far as the resources and time and expense that it takes to follow the typical approach, in today's world, it's becoming less and less effective. The results are showing that even with all of this expense and effort, sending out hundreds or thousands of emails with a generic message, even sequenced emails, is getting less than 1/4% response. And SDRs and BDRs that are making cold calls are also getting less than 1% of a return. This concept of warm introductions and referrals has really been talked in sales for decades. But how is there a way to surface these in a quick way? And that's what we want to show you with KnowledgeNet. How KnowledgeNet delivers 1,000 prioritized warm referrals in 10 business days. That's the example that I'm going to walk you through. And our goal is to help you grow your business. That's our mission. That's our focus. But while we're growing your business, we're also helping you reduce costs. There's technology that's embedded in KnowledgeNet, like 280 million contacts. No need for LinkedIn Navigator. ChatGPT, the paid version, is embedded in KnowledgeNet, and personality profiles as well. So you can leverage these to grow your business and leverage your relationships. So the way that it works is we create a secure organization, a KnowledgeNet organization for your company, and we invite your users, the sales team. The sales team syncs their email and their LinkedIn connections to that KnowledgeNet organization, developing a company-wide relationship brain. We automatically generate that. And then if you're looking at a particular account, you'll see in great detail all of the last interactions, the strength of the relationships here indicated by the thickness of the line, also in descending order of relationships, and who are potentially the side relationships. Anytime that someone has sent an email, maybe from KnowledgeNet to Citicorp and copied in BP or JP Morgan, all of these connections are created showing you visually how your business is being interacted. So that's part of how KnowledgeNet creates relationships. Now, how do you leverage them? So your sales team would be using KnowledgeNet wherever they're working. So it's not a new tool that they have to use. It complements and integrates with your CRM, with LinkedIn, with using a browser. I'll show you here in a demo in just a minute, just starting with a Chrome extension. The goal here is to leverage your relationships. So when you find that prospect, someone that meets your ideal customer profile and you want to do business with them, KnowledgeNet will light a path to who in your network can provide you with a warm introduction. And with a click of a button, you can package up that relationship intelligence so that you can ask your referring customer to provide you with that introduction automatically. And when that person sets up that meeting for you and you're about to meet with that prospect, we add personality profiles so that you can present to them in a way that they're going to be most receptive. So let's get back to this. How does AI KnowledgeNet deliver 1,000 prioritized warm referrals in 10 business days? First, we create that relationship brain, just like we were talking earlier. It takes 1 day to do that. And then you provide us your ideal customer profile. And then we use AI to search through 280 million contacts, leveraging your brain and your ideal customer profile. And we score every contact and we deliver to you, again, in 10 business days, 1,000 of them prioritized, each with a warm introduction. So this is an example where Annie was looking to grow her business in the fintech industry. We randomly selected 44 fintech companies and 1,200 contacts. And Annie had connections at 34 of those companies, 77%, and 619 connections overall, 51%. And she was highly connected to 27% of them. And so for all of these highly connected and connected contacts, we provide in great detail how can she get a referral to someone that she's trying to meet. So in this example, she would be trying to meet Charles Barker from Aperture. She has a relationship with Becky. Becky has a relationship with Charles. Can she please give an introduction? And so we provide in great detail here how everyone's connected. So at the start, Annie and Becky detail about them. They've had 4 meetings, the most recent in September. They've had 12 email exchanges, also the most recent in September, and they connected on LinkedIn in September. So they know each other. And Becky and Charles, a little bit about them, they both worked at the same company in the same department at the same time, and they also connected on LinkedIn. So Becky knows Charles. Annie can click a button that you'll see here in the demo asking Becky to introduce her to Charles. This is how we deliver what we call AI lead intelligence. And we know that delivering results is important to you and growing your business is important to you. We have customers in every corner of the United States we provide you the contact information so you can ask them about their experience. We also have case studies like this one with John Scaff, that in 4 months, they closed a pipeline worth $14 million in revenue, and it all started with KnowledgeNet. So our pricing for KnowledgeNet is based on each user that's using it, but we also have a special offer that includes the AI lead intelligence. It includes the AI lead intelligence really at no charge, because for $1,000 a year, you would have the 1,000 prioritized leads upfront, and then licensing for 2 outside salespeople for 12 months, and 6 passive licenses, people on your team like customer service or the leadership team that has customer relationships, they would be added as well. So there's more nodes on the network, so you can leverage that network further for more sales. If you're on the call today and you're a solopreneur and you have the needs for growing your business, you could start with KnowledgeNet, a subscription fee of $30 per user per month, and you can cancel at any time. It's just a subscription. There's no contract. If you have a larger team, then you can expand the pricing that I offered earlier to adding more users on a monthly basis or annual basis, and then you get a discount. So let me show you a quick demonstration. Let's say, for example, I work for a plastic extrusion company and I'm looking for prospects. I'm looking for gutter companies to sell my plastic gutters to. So if I start from a web page like Nationwide Gutter and I launch the KnowledgeNet Chrome extension, I can see that unlike the previous example, no one in my company has ever contacted or connected with anyone at Nationwide Gutter. But I want to show you here that we have a connection path. Joe English is 2 degrees of separation from Renee Grossman. That's what I wanted, looking for a connection. And so if I click this line here, this row, I can see exactly how Joe and I are connected. We've had 7 meetings and 96 emails, and Joe connected to Renee on LinkedIn in 2021. Renee is the founder of Nationwide Gutter, exactly the type of person I'm looking to meet. So I click this blue button here where it says write intro email, and it packages up this relationship intelligence asking Joe to please connect me with Renee. If I close this box here and I go to the information tab for Renee, I'm able to unlock his cell phone number, which I'm not going to show here on a national webinar. I can access his personality profile. So if Joe set up that meeting for me, now I can prepare for the meeting by understanding how Renee thinks and what his personality is so that I can present to him in a way that he's going to be most receptive. You can see what motivates him and drains him, communication style, how we should work together, and recommended do's and don'ts. If I close this box here and I don't have a connection path, I can still write Renee a compelling email, something that's highly personalized coming from me, who I am, what my role is, what my company does. When I click next, what Renee's role is and what his company does. And then because I unlock the personality intelligence, when I click next, it combines these 3 things and creates an email introducing myself to Renee and the value that we can provide his company. Because I've had these interchanges, I'm ready to add Renee to my CRM. I click a button. The sales team will be so thankful that they never have to create another account or contact in the CRM because KnowledgeNet can do that automatically. If I click on the company here in the information tab, I can see information about the company. I can access all of the employees of the company and their email addresses and phone numbers, just like we did with Renee. And because I'm looking for companies similar, I could use AI to find similar companies. When I click this row, it creates 10 companies similar to Nationwide Gutter. It's leveraging ChatGPT. It packaged up everything about Nationwide Gutter into a custom prompt and asked ChatGPT, and ChatGPT returned this. It's embedded in KnowledgeNet. I could say, give me 10 more, and it would give me 10 more. But the other thing I can do is search in KnowledgeNet using filters that match my ideal customer profile. So if I'm searching for companies, I can look through there at different fields. I put in here gutters in the keyword, and I found 3,293 companies that I can pursue. And if I'm searching for people, I can use, again, search filters that match my ideal customer profile. I can search for title, geography, all these different areas, and find contacts by searching through 270 million people. Thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to present and provide an overview of KnowledgeNet. Howard, I'm going to turn it back over to you now.
Yeah, Ben, thanks so much for walking us through that. And I think, the key takeaways there is really goes back to kind of we were kind of teeing up prior to a deeper dive into KnowledgeNet is that organizations could do what KnowledgeNet does out on their own, but it's going to take a lot of time, energy, and resources, and they probably don't have the know-how in order to kind of pull it all together. And for a salesperson, having that information at their fingertips and being able to allow them to accelerate their pipeline is really something that is value add and will bring a lot of synergy and energy to an organization when they're looking to build the front funnel of their pipeline. I appreciate this, a quick opportunity. I talked a little bit earlier about the architect versus the builder when I'm working with clients. This is our sales acceleration framework, which is really the architect model, usually designed for organizations that are a little bit larger, $35 to $50 million plus, have a sales leader in place, and they're looking